So it started on Tuesday, August the 8th. The power went out in the probably August the 7th or on the 8th in the middle of the night, the power went out. Mm-hmm. And so when we woke up, there was no power and the winds were super strong. And I think we were having a hurricane with the winds of 70 miles per hour or 80, someone told me. So, and we didn't have any power. So we went outside and we sat inside our Jeep and we took some playing cards and we took the dogs and we had music in the car because in the inside we didn't have any power. And so we just wanted to get outside and thank God we were outside because while we were sitting in there just playing cards and watching the wind blow the shingles off the roof and palm trees was falling and it was, pretty serious storm. And then we saw this smoke. It was small, and then we drove just in our complex around our building to get a closer look. And by the time we got back, it was really big and close to us, probably already into our development at that time. It was because the wind was so strong. This fire was moving like gasoline. Someone poured gasoline on it. It was crazy. So by that time, we were just panicking and we ran inside the house. And that quick of a time, our smoke detectors were going out and the smoke had already reached us. And so we were like, really just grabbed our dogs and we went back to the car and then we just headed out because we didn't have time to get anything. We just had to get out. So we were just praying. And I want to please start off by saying, I just want to give God the glory that we made it. I want to give him all the glory today. And by his grace, we made it out. And the traffic was very heavy. And at one point, it's very emotional to even talk about this. At that point, I was telling them, Aaliyah, we might have to jump out of the car because it wasn't moving quick enough. And we would have to run for our lives because we could see on the video, you would see that the traffic was standing still. And you could see the smoke, it came over us and it was in the middle afternoon, the sun was out and it became pitch black because the smoke had just covered everything. It was black and all we could see was black fire sparks. Yeah. Fires flying. And Malia noticed the tree up. She goes, Mom, look at that palm trees on fire up there on top, because the sparks was putting fire in because the wind was so strong, it was creating more fires around us. And just for us to go maybe, I don't think it was 2 miles we went, maybe a mile and a half, 2 miles at the most. It took us 2 hours to get that far because of the traffic. So, and then after we did get out to the main road, we pulled over on the side because we thought we were in a safe zone now. We were away from the fire far enough. And a pole fell down and it went over, the wire fell on our car, our Jeep. And right away I tell Malia, get out, Malia, because this could be a live wire. So we get out and then didn't seem to be live. So I carefully backed Jeep up and let the wire fall off. And the family that lived in that house told us, oh, you can stay here and we'll bring you water, come in and use the restroom. And then the police came and said, evacuate, you guys got to get out. So the fire was still moving toward us. It was just chasing everybody, that fire was. So even that person that let us sit there in their home, their home burnt down. And we went by there and we saw that their home had burned down. The fire just kept going further.
We went to this supermarket where it was all crowded with all the cars. And we just parked there for the night. And we slept in our car for a night. And then we got in contact with one of our friends, and we got to stay there. We got to stay here for a couple of
until we find a place.
Yeah, so it's only temporary for now.
Yeah, so our friend, then said, oh, bring your dogs and you come and stay here. And other people was offering too. We saw another girlfriend that said, oh, you guys, I have a spare room. You guys stay here. I just want to point out that the most beautiful experience that we're having here is the locals, the love they're extending every day. We can just walk out right down to the beach, to the left or to the right. There's beaches both ways, and they have tents set up with so much food and water bottles and dog supplies and baby supplies and hot food. They're cooked every day, and everybody's welcome to come and join. And the locals are just loving on each other and supporting each other. It's so beautiful.
Oh yeah, I went to get some water because we need more water, and the one of this uncles, we call them uncles. brought me the water, and then he's like, 2 more cases. So I got 3 cases of water.
Yeah, they just put it in the car for her. He goes, "Oh, go get your car. I'll go get it for you." And he put it in the car, and he tell the other, "Hey, bring us 2 more cases of water." So yeah, people are, we just, people are, it's, everybody is the locals, and they live on the other side of the island. We only have the one grocery store where we're at, and they're completely out of everything because everything has to be shipped in from the mainland on a barge. So we're very limited to supplies here. And we do have a Costco, but it's on the other side of the road, and they closed the road. We couldn't go through because we would have to go through, and they have the National Guards here. So, and we still do not have Wi-Fi or internet, and it's been over 2 weeks. So the Hawaiian culture here is that we're all one ohana, which means a family. And there's not a stranger among us. We're all brothers and sisters. Mm-hmm. It's, the love is overwhelming. The love is more overwhelming than the tragedy. Yeah, so we're just like she said, she calls, it's respectful to call auntie and uncles. You don't even know them, but it's hi uncle, hi auntie, and then they embrace you like you're their kid. And that's just, yeah, the ohana. We're one big ohana here. We're still in Lahaina address. We're just further north down. The fire took place, it is called the Old Lahaina, and that's where it, you know, Lahaina used to be the capital, right?
Yeah, it was the heart of the island.
It was the heart. It was like Lahaina, old Lahaina town is where Front Street and all the restaurants and the banyan tree, I'm sure you guys must have heard of, and the art galleries. And this is where everybody comes here to go to the Lahaina town. It's the prime location. It's the heart of Maui, is Lahaina. And it's just a nice little town. And
old museums from like, I don't
know, 1800s museums, and they burned down, and it was historical. It was a very, very unique and historical. It's very authentic of the Hawaiian people built this. Yeah. So now the locals, we're all sad because we feel like, of course, the mainland people, they got all these bids on billions of dollars to try to buy that land, and they're going to turn it into, it won't be the locals anymore. It's going to be people with money, and that's very heartbreaking.
I just wish that they put the siren on, because every month of every the beginning of the month, they always have the siren for any emergencies like tsunamis, fires, anything like that. But
they're just testing it once a month.
They test it every month. But it would have been really good if they actually put it on, because we didn't have any cop to come around to tell us to evacuate. We just knew because we were outside already. But we saw some people outside, and they started to leave as well, because everybody else, I heard some people were sleeping, and it was just like terrifying.
Yeah, by the time they woke up, they couldn't get out. So, and then my former mother-in-law, Malia, she and her 2 daughters, her daughter and son, they saw the fire right in their front yard, and they were like, "Oh my God, get up, we gotta go now." And she told her son, "Todd, get up." And that's her dad's brother, that's her uncle, her real uncle Todd. And so they drove out as fast as they could, and they were one of the people that had to get out of their car and go into the ocean. And she's 88 years old. She weighs less than 100 pounds, and she had to be in the ocean for 5 hours. And she said that the current was getting higher and pushing her against the rocks. And she showed me the fire sparks that got on her leg, and her car exploded. It was really a nightmare. It's just to even think about it is already too much. But and then so she and her daughter had to stay in the ocean for 5 hours until they can get them out.
Missy Lane, which is her name, she was trying to wake up her son because he was sleeping, and he was just, I guess, like in the sleeping mood, so he didn't get up
quick enough.
Quick enough. So they left him, and but we found out like yesterday or the day before that he made it a block, and that was it.
1 block from the house, they found his body and identified him. And that was 2 weeks ago, the fire, and we're just now being told that he did not make it. So that's really sad. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the siren. So everybody here, the locals, we're all upset. And then the whoever, the mayor, governor, they said they didn't do the siren because that's for tsunami, and that they would have confused people, and there probably would have been more deaths because people would have went uphill. No, they wouldn't. They would have been saved because they would have heard that tsunami, and they would have came outdoors. And when you come outside, you're going to see that fire. You don't have to worry about what that siren's for. They just need to get people's attention, and they would have came outside. And so many people that we even know, that I know, did not make it out the house, because by the time the fire was moving so quickly, by the time they did know it was danger outside, like Todd. He only made it a block away. If there was a siren, everybody would have had more time. We didn't even have time. Like I said, it's by the grace of God. When we saw the fire, we were outdoors and we saw it starting. It was just a matter of 10 minutes that the smoke was inside our place and the fire. And then, yeah, it was moving quickly. There was no way. And maybe they just didn't know either, because the siren I heard was on the other side of the island, and maybe someone didn't get the word out quick enough. But there never was a siren, which is very sad. They asked the families to do a DNA. Maybe that's how they identified Todd. I'm not sure. But yeah, they're asking people to definitely do a DNA because of the remains. You can't pretty much identify them because, you know. So yes, they're asking that, and they're still, of course, when we went back to our property, but they wouldn't let us in. They said that they were still looking for bodies and the dogs and stuff, so we couldn't go back. We just was curious because everyone told us, oh, Front Street, because we didn't have a TV or anything, so it was all word of mouth. And so, Front Street Apartments is a pretty popular apartments on Front Street where the fire was, and it's like, oh, Front Street apartment burned down, and so I told Malia, and my friends were texting. I said, yes, our place burned down. And then Malia said,
I hope I had hope and like faith that like, because one of my mom's friends was texting me and she was like, is your house okay? And I'm like, I hope so. Because I know my mom was like, it's definitely burnt down, because we heard so many rumors
right.
About it being down.
So I told Malia, why you tell her you hope so, Malia? It's burnt down. They've already confirmed it's all been burnt down. And Malia said, well, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. Yeah. Oh, and Malia left her car there because she has a car and I have a car, but we didn't want to separate. And we didn't have time. We wouldn't have separated anyway. So we both just got in the car with our dogs. And so they wasn't letting us come back where the fire was, but we parked a certain place as far as we could, and then we walked the rest of the way, the back way, so we can go see, because you can't drive back there. And now that after that, the National Guards made it to where nobody could walk back there. But at the beginning, they were still trying to secure everything. So we walked back there to our property to see for ourselves.
Okay. When we walked back, well, I went first because I was like, I got to see this.
Yeah, I didn't even see her anymore. Yeah. She was gone.
I got there and everything was burnt down to the metal and ashes everywhere. But our building number 7 was just still standing like perfectly, not touched by the fire, right there in the center. It was just amazing. Like I was just so emotional because it was just like everything in the whole complex burned down, but our building was still standing. And my car was there. It was not touched. It was like perfectly fine, full of gas, and like everything was just perfect.
And why?
And because we did pray a lot. And not only that, I just felt like God had his arms wrapped around our building. I just felt like his energy, and it was just amazing.
Yeah. When her dad and I caught up with her, she was already inside the apartment. We were like, where's Malia? And she was in the apartment. And we were so amazed when we saw it, because she didn't tell us. So we just saw it for ourselves first too, because Malia was already in that apartment. And inside the apartment, there wasn't any smoke damage or anything. It was amazing. Not one burn on the building. It just stopped around our building. And we just do, like Malia said, God had his arms wrapped around our home. I just felt like it was a miracle. That's how I felt. I was like, thank you, Lord, for saving our home. And even though we cannot ever go back there, they're going to tear it down because it's a community, and they're going to just tear down the whole place. And I don't know what they're going to do to build, what they're going to build on it, but they're allowing us now to go in to get our belongings and what we can salvage. Some things we cannot, like we had to leave our beds, of course, because they said that the chemicals, it did get inside and it wasn't safe to keep, things that like your mattress or bed, or if you have a couch and chair it's made out of fabric, that it was unsafe to keep any of that kind of stuff. So we did lose a partial of our belongings, but we got what was important. And now we're just praying God will direct us where to go from here and a place to live, because right now everything is temporary. And so for me as a mother, it feels just unsure of our future not together, but just where we're going to go and how we're going to do it. And everybody's pretty like walking around like, we don't know where we're going to go next. We're homeless, basically, and without a job.
I just got hired at Tommy Bahama restaurant. It was on Front Street. and I didn't get a chance to work there yet, but I everything was all good. Like
yeah, she got hired in her schedule,
yeah.
and before she can start the first day, the fire had taken place, and also the fire was 2 days before after my birthday. Mm-hmm. So when we went back in, it was really sad because Malia had decorated everything with balloons and streamers for me, and my flowers, they were all still there. So it was just super emotional. My birthday was on Sunday and the fire was on Tuesday. So 2 days after. So all of the birthday, things were still there, and the balloons and flowers were still there. And yeah.
I was gonna also mention, because what's his name? Randy,
yeah.
Our manager that worked and lived in the apartments.
He was a property manager.
Yes, he was a property manager. He also said there was a plaque next to our building before they got to build any property on the land. It was called the Menehunes. They're Hawaiian, like ancient Hawaiian people that once roamed there, and they, I don't know,
so that was a burial ground. Yeah. And so the apartment complex, it's been there, I think, 27 years. But Randy was telling us before they can build, they had to put a plaque on a wall with tea leaf. Tea leaves represent good things of Hawaiian and spirits. And so they had to respect the ground because they were building on Hawaiian there were burials there that from ancients, maybe 1800 something. We don't know exactly, but it was, so they did put that plaque right pretty much on our building, not on it, but it's so close to it. And the manager said, "Oh, you guys' building was spared because of
the Menehunes."
The Menehunes spirits, because the plaque was right there. That's where we represented them. It's right there at your building. And that's why he believes that he felt because the Hawaiian people have very strong feelings as well with the whole Hawaiian culture and the kings and the queens and the goddess of Pele, the goddess of the volcano, and the Menehunes. They were really short people that marched at night. So there's a lot of stories, and because our building was represented their presence there at one time, and out of respect for them, that was the manager's reason. He said that our building was spared, but of course we know our Heavenly Father spared it, and maybe those Menehunes had a little bit to do with it too. And he was there before they even built the building, so he told us a story about where they had to put that plaque there by our building before they can build on that property. So he's been there for 27 years from the first day.
The support, like, it just means like love and embracing everybody, and everybody's just so like loving, and it's just amazing it's amazing for me to feel, because we even though we went through devastation and leaving our apartments, but we got to get our stuff back. It was just amazing how everybody just wants to help everybody, and just, I don't know,
it's overwhelming. It's called that's why when you hear the word aloha means love. When I posted about Todd and his passing, I said Todd had a beautiful spirit and beautiful aloha. He has such great aloha. Aloha just means having compassion for others and loving and unconditionally. People here just love unconditionally. There's no stranger. Like I said, Ohana is just family. So they do whatever they would do for their family. And it just, for me, it's so overwhelming. It does help a lot of the devastation that went on. The love is, to me, more powerful, even almost than the devastation. Well, we're just thankful that we made it out alive, and we're thankful for the other people made it out alive, and we just pray for the people and families that did not make it out. And we just feel that God has his hand on us and our hearts, and he's going to direct our paths and help us get through this. It's going to be a long road ahead. We're not sure what it holds for us, but we're just trusting in God and our friends and loved ones around us for their love and support.
Yeah, the love and support here is amazing. And yes, our friends have helped us, and we've practically moved our stuff from our apartments here. What I want to add, the people on Front Street, we did hear stories that people actually had to jump in the water because it was just, I saw videos of fire left and right, people on Front Street, and they just had to like jump in the water just to save themselves. And a lot of people I did see that were in the water, just waiting for safety to come. And it was just really devastating. But we also saw how they got to get rescued. Like my grandma when she was telling her story, she got rescued by what's it called, the safety guards.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a really tough story to hear, but also blessed that they made it out as well.
Yeah.
I have a Kalamazoo, Michigan t-shirt.
So she wore that today.
Yeah.
And also, we want to send our love and aloha to our families there in Kalamazoo, where we represent, like you said, she's got her shirt on. That's where we're from. And even though we're in our ohana here, we still have our ohana there in Kalamazoo as well.